nurse. She's an ICA board member, a longtime volunteer donor, but most importantly, a proud mother of a long-term client of ICA. She had the opportunity as a military life to travel throughout the country, and unfortunately, I guess she learned firsthand how difficult it was to find specialized services for her child. But she has a powerful story to tell, and I wanted you to hear it. She'll share about her challenges before ICA and what life was for her and her family after ICA. But I also want to bring in Rachel Newsome. She's worked in journalism and in public relations for about 30 plus years. In fact, you may have read some of her work, although it's been a while ago when she was on the communications team and responsible for the in-flight magazine for Trans World Airlines. She spent the last 12 years in development for ICA and is currently their communications officer. She was taught early in her years the power of being charitable when her nephew was diagnosed with autism, and her parents became involved with the Illinois Center for Autism as a volunteer. In preparing for today, we were talking, and it reminded me that our club has a common connection with ICA, but I'll let them explain that just a little bit more. Meanwhile, we'll give a warm virtual welcome to Donna Mann and Rachel Newsome. But we'll start with Rachel. And Rachel, you'll need to unmute your mic because everyone else was muted at once, and Donna as well. But we'll start with Rachel and let her bring Donna in when she's ready. I just want to say thank you for being here.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Rich. First of all, Donna and I would like to thank everybody for giving us an opportunity to share a little bit about the Illinois Center for Autism. It's something that's near and dear to both of us. And I think that after you hear some of the information that we are going to share, that you will understand why. The Illinois Center for Autism, or ICA, as Rich said, we like to call it, it's a little easier, is celebrating 43 years of serving children and adults with autism spectrum disorder. And we do this through 3 primary programs. Our first program is our special day school program, and that serves children from the ages of 3 to the day before their 22nd birthday. This is our oldest program, and it is our largest program. Children are typically referred to us through this program from the school districts. Right now, we serve about 9 school districts, I think we're at. A lot of the numbers that I'm giving you, some were prior to COVID, and after COVID, everything's a little different. But we were sitting at 9 counties. We've served as many as 12 counties in the Metro East area. And prior to COVID, we had about 128, 130 students in the program. The last number I heard since COVID started and going to remote is we're sitting at about 115 students, I believe. This is the only program that we actually have a direct funding source for, because by law, we are actually able to charge tuition to the school districts when they refer a child to us. Then our second program is our adult services program, and that provides opportunities for adults with autism from 22 on up. I think our oldest in the program is probably somewhere in the mid-50s, and we joke around that we're going to have to come up with some sort of a senior program because a lot of our adults are getting to be older like the rest of us. We have not done that yet, though. But in this program, we provide vocational opportunities, we provide social skills and job skills training, we provide life skills training. We also provide actual employment through this. We own a business in this program, and it's called Pasta Fair. Pasta Fair is a catering business that operates out of Fairview Heights, but we cater within a 50-mile radius. So I would highly plug Pasta Fair to you all if you need it for business purposes or for personal reasons, for catering like a bridal shower or a birthday, or even with one of your Rotarian meetings. If that's something you guys ever consider, I'd highly recommend looking into Pasta Fair. They do an amazing job with this. And if it's a daytime event, the clients actually get to participate in that, which is really awesome to see. And then we have our third program, which is our Client Family Support Services program. Long title, it's pretty much, they do exactly what the title says. They're there to support our clients and our families. They're there to provide education to the families, to provide resources, to provide advocacy. We have social skills training courses. We have a social skills club that comes through this program. And most recently, with COVID affecting everyone, This program typically during the holidays will help our families with a variety of things like Christmas presents and food items, food baskets. But because of COVID, we've ended up right now, ever since this started, since the end of March, I guess, we have been providing about 40 families additional monies to be able to provide groceries for their families. We've been giving them grocery cards, gift cards, and that's been happening just about every week. So that is taking a toll on the center, but it's something that's absolutely necessary. I don't know if anyone is terribly familiar with autism, but I will tell you that if you have a child on the spectrum, it can cost a family 3 to 4 times more to raise that child than it does if you have a child that does not have autism. So it can be very costly for a family who even does okay financially. It can put them into a situation, especially with something like the pandemic hitting, into a situation that can become dire. So we've been doing that with this department as well. And at this point, I think I'm going to introduce Donna to you and let her share with you how all 3 of those programs have been able to help her and her family and her child. And then I'll jump back on.
Hi.
Donna, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello? Yes?
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. I couldn't tell. I just want to tell you, he's already given you my bio. I'm a board member, past treasurer, retired nurse. Thank you. But my most important job is Cammie's mom. And I say that with great emphasis because I'm very proud of her and how she's progressed. And that's because of ICA. I will tell you, it wasn't always that way. When Cammie was small, and please forgive me, I'm not a speaker. I'm just going to tell you from the heart. When Cammie was small, we realized something was wrong. She was our first child. We were young, but we knew she wasn't progressing like she should. So, of course, we started looking for doctors and anybody we could. And I will tell you, we found this one doctor who I kind of wish I'd never met. We took Cammie to see him. He took us into his office. Now, this has been over 35 years. I want you to know how powerful this is and how much it gets to me. He took us into his office, looked us square in the face, and said, "Take your child to the nearest institution, drop her off, and forget you ever had her. You're young, and you can have more kids." See, after all these years, it still gets to me. I can tell you what the man was wearing. I can tell you about his stain he had on his tie. I can tell you that being brought up as a good little Southern Baptist girl, I was taught never to use profanity, but I'm always also from a military family. I found enough 4-letter words to tell that man what he was, where he could go, and I apologize for that. No, I don't. Where he could go and how he could get there, and that I had to come to him for help, and what he was telling me was to throw my child away like she was nothing. Well, I told him that I was going to walk out of there and find what she needed no matter what. Well, thankfully, that was a long time ago. The medical community has come a long way, and we have all gotten a better education on autism and how to help parents. Now, when Cammie was diagnosed, it was 1 in 10,000. Now, I think it's about 1 in 54. That's because the spectrum has opened up. Anyway, fast forward. Told you my family was military. We got stationed at Scott Air Force Base. Of course, first thing we did when we got here was look for a program for Cammie. She also had another sister at that time and a little brother on the way. But anyway, so we looked in Illinois, we looked in Missouri, we looked everywhere. Wasn't happy because everybody kept saying, "All right, we'll do this for your child, we'll do that for your child, and you will do what we tell you." Again, telling us what they were going to do and what we should do for our child. Well, again, we weren't happy with it, and we kept looking around, and then one day, and I wish I could tell you who told me because I don't know, someone said to me, "There's this lady that has a program over behind the police station, and you might want to go check it out." Well, I don't know if you believe in divine intervention, but I do. We immediately drove over and found that lady who changed our lives, and that lady was Carol Madison. She gave us a tour and said, yes, she had one opening. She had lost a client that day, but she had one more opening, and she was willing to take Cammie. Now, the difference was Carol said, our kids, we will work together. She was smiling, she was giving us hope, and my husband and I looked at each other and said, this is it. We immediately said, okay, we want this, and thanked her very much, obviously, and suddenly we had hope. And I think her husband, Rich, was a member of your organization in the past, but anyway, I wanted to impress upon you how this lady and her family, because she had the backing of Rich and her kids, and I thank them for that all the time, has made a difference in my life and Cammie's life. I want you to know that Cammie has attended the Illinois Center for Autism. She's now in the adult program. She has grown and prospered and flourished under them. She's still nonverbal, but this little girl, this little child that they wanted me to throw away is earning a paycheck. She has friends. She loves going to the center. I know that she's taken care of. I know that she's protected from the time I put her on the van till the time she comes home. I know they're doing everything they possibly can to help her, and it shows. And she loves us. And I just cannot impress upon you how important the center is, and how Carol's legacy of understanding, dedication, and education to our kids and her compassion continues to this day. You can walk through the halls at ICA, and the one thing that really impressed me is you will not hear a negative term. You will never hear them say, no, don't do that, stop. It's all positive, and the kids react to that, and the adults react to that, and Cammie reacts to that. So when you're asking me about ICA, I tell you, they protect, they respect, they educate, and they help our kids become the best we can. So I think you can see how crucial ICA is to us and our families, and what it gives to Cammie in particular, because I'm as her mom. That's obviously what I'm most, here for. But, and I'll apologize if it sounds like I'm a cheerleader for ICA. I guess I am, because when you have a place or a person like Carol and like the center and like the staff up there who just won't give up. They keep on. They help my family. They help hundreds of people. Well, what else can I do? I'm very thankful. I thank God every night for ICA, and no, I don't use that term loosely. And that's kind of my story. I mean, I could tell you a dozen of them, but Rachel will make me shut up, so I'll stop right now. So thank you for listening, and I'll give you back to Rachel. But think about Cammie and the kids up there that's impacted by this, because you just wouldn't believe her today if you could see her. You just wouldn't. She's awesome. Rachel?
Yes, I love the story Donna tells about her being at home. One of the duties she has in our job program is to do dishes. And Donna tells a story about Cammie not being able to let any of them set down a glass or a bowl anywhere. She grabs it, it's to the sink, and she's doing the dishes. And I said, man, I want to adopt her for a while. I hate to do dishes. But anyway, going back to, thank you, Donna, very much. The center, I know one of the things Rich wanted me to talk about is some of our funding and how we obtain our funding. And as I mentioned with the school program, that is done mainly through the tuition, but the other programs are all funded through a variety of sources. Carol and the board at that time and the board now have continued to do this, and I think it was very wise to keep our money coming in through a variety of sources because of the various things that have happened over the last several years, even that I've been there. I know there were times where other non-for-profits couldn't survive because they only had one main funding source. And we've been very good at keeping that open to many. And we primarily get our funding through the mental health boards in the area, a variety of organizations like yours, like the Knights of Columbus, Odd Fellows. There's a whole slew of organizations, as well as personal donors and companies who sponsor our events. And we do a lot of grant writing. So it comes, and of course, we have the Department of Human Services. We have federal grants that we write, just a variety. So it comes in from a whole slew of things. We too, like everyone, have been highly impacted by COVID. Unfortunately, it was not something that I don't think any of us were prepared for. We've to this date have probably lost about $1 million. Our operating budget's about 7.2 million. And we have been unable to have our events, our fundraising events that are a big priority during the summer months. And all of that's been either postponed or changed or gone to virtual, which is phenomenal, but they don't seem to do quite as well, unfortunately. And then because we've been remote with all of our students and most of our clients up until Tuesday, we do not get the funding that we typically get from the state or the federal government because of the agreement that we have that it has to be face-to-face services. So anyway, long story short is obviously we're hurting too, like everybody. And we're always looking for, any kind of help anybody can provide, whether it be volunteering or financial or whatever. We too, I noticed you guys are talking a lot about the food drives. Like I said, we've been doing the huge food, but we've been doing it in gift cards because we're so spread out across the counties. It's difficult for us to get food to the folks, and a lot of our folks have transportation issues, a lot of our families do. So that's also challenging. But I think we've probably thrown enough information at you all. I hope that it's been educational. I hope it's been helpful. And if you have any questions for Donna or I, please do not hesitate to ask. If we don't know the answer, we will certainly find out for you.
Thanks, Rachel. I had two questions sent to me. One was asked about is there an age limit? In other words, is there a child too young for ICA to serve or an adult too old for ICA to serve? And then the second question was about your service region and how much is in Madison County and or District 7.
Okay, I didn't hear all of that, but I think I did, Rich, the last question. We serve 9 counties. Typically, we can go as far as 12. And that Madison County and St. Clair County are our largest counties. And then we've gone as far north into Godfrey. We go south. We go down into the, what is it called? Like Columbia, all that area and even further. And we go as far as the Indiana border. We've actually had a couple of clients that were from, and I'm sorry, I can't remember what that county is like. I don't remember the county now, but it's right at the border of Indiana. And something I didn't mention, that with our school program, not only are the districts responsible for the tuition, they are also responsible for transportation for these children, unless parents opt out and decide they want to bring them. So we've got buses every morning when we're not in COVID. We've got buses lined up down the street and around. I mean, they're just everywhere at both of our campuses because we've got them coming from so many different districts. And the kids that are coming from the Indiana border are literally riding 2.5 hours each way to receive our services and then ride 2.5 hours back home again. So there's really not an organization in the immediate Southern Illinois area. Now I know that Carbondale offers an autism program. My understanding is it's very small in comparison to ours, and it's primarily just for children. So that's my understanding. Now, if anyone knows different, please tell me, but that is the way I understand it. So we're really the only ones in the immediate Southern Illinois area that do what we do. So I hope that answers that question. And then the first question, I forgot what you asked me, Rich. Would you remind me again?
Sure. Are there any age limits? Like, is there any child too young or adult too old?
Yes. Yes, we began serving children from the ages of 3 on. Right now, I don't believe we have any 3-year-olds. 3 is we don't get as many 3-year-olds as we do 4. Typically, it's 4 years old, but we will serve children as young as 3, and that is the youngest typically. Because children usually are diagnosed with autism somewhere around 18 months to 2 years. That's a typical, that's not an always thing. So that's kind of why we have that age range. And then as far as the adults go, I would say no, not really. We don't have an age limit on an adult becoming part of our services. I would think though, it's going to depend a lot on their abilities and their health issues as they age. We do have a lot of our adults, as I mentioned, who are older and have a lot of health issues. And so getting them enrolled in the program, I guess the simple answer is no, we don't have a limit, any kind of a cap on the age. And I said, like I said, we probably are looking at maybe someday having to look at what we're going to do with some of the senior adults, but we're not there yet. So I hope that answers the question. And then
Does.
I wanted to also add something. Carolyn, I think it was Carolyn sent a message I saw it flashed up on my screen that she knew someone that was moving to the area that could use our services. Carolyn, you certainly can give me a call and I will put them in contact with the right group at our center to be able to help them with those resources. I am not that person, but I would be more than happy to talk to them about this, what we do, and to provide them with the right contact. And Rich has got my phone number.
Rachel or Donna,
Anything else?
yeah, Rachel or Donna, would you happen to know how many individuals ICA serves out of the local facility?
Yes. This is an interesting question. It should be an easy one, but we serve clients both direct and indirect. So when we report numbers to United Way, for example, we are a United Way agency. Right now, and I just did this, we're sitting at about 1,900 individuals this year, I believe, overall, for direct and indirect. As I mentioned, we've got 40 adults in our adult program. We've got, well, enrolled, we've got about 128 in our school program. Like I said, actually attending remotely now, it's like 111. And then we also have clients that we have 4 social workers that go out into the community and work with families. So those families, those clients, the families and the individuals are considered clients because we work with the entire family. And I don't know off the top of my head exactly how many of those families there are, but I know a combination of all the direct and indirect, it's right around, I'd say 1,900, 2,000, give or take.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions from anybody?
I will tell you guys too, since you guys are the Rotary in Edwardsville, we serve, obviously we serve your community, and the numbers change on shoot, when we're in session, the numbers are changing daily with our school program. But I think right now, when I looked for numbers for the Edwardsville, Glen Carbon area, we're serving, I think, between the adults and students, presently like 4 or 5 individuals from your area.
Okay.
Rachel, I should point out there are several members of this club who are either past board members or certainly contributors to the Edwardsville Community Foundation that awarded ICA a $2,500 grant
Yes.
in the middle of COVID to help with some of the COVID and the online instruction that you all were doing. So we're
That
just
is
wanted them
true.
to know
I'm so
their
sorry. Yes,
support's going to good use.
Yes, thank you. To all of those who are on that committee, thank you so very much for granting us that money. That actually went towards a lot of what I've been talking about, the PPE and the helping with the food cost. And oh my gosh, yeah, that was amazing. That was wonderful. And Rich was a little sneaky about that and really surprised me with us getting it. So thank you so very much to those who are on the committee.
And Mark, can I just add, there's a real compelling video on the ICA website that I would like to push out to the membership, just if they want to either learn more about ICA or to see the story that they write about. I think it's 4 different service areas that they sort of focus on, or programs that you focus on that I found very compelling anyway.
If you could get that to me right after the meeting, I'll include that with Rachel's numbers and contact information that you've got out, and we'll include that for the notes and the link for anybody that's going to watch this video again as a makeup. And then I'll also put the information on there from Tricia Shrewsbury for the Red Hill Church thing this weekend, and also for Peter and Paul service this weekend as well. So
Will do.
be happy to.
And could I ask,
No,
I'm sorry.
Rich, oh, sorry, Donna.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that if anyone does look at the video, it would be good to note that we've got a really sweet video on there of Carol Madison on the website on our front page that talks a little bit about her history and her the startup of ICA, and it's a really neat little video. So for those of you who may know Carol, it's a neat video to watch. You'd appreciate it.
Thanks for that. One last thing, because the Edwardsville Rotary Club sponsors our criterium. Can you tell us a little bit about this photo? Petals for Autism? Or about the program Pedal for Autism?
Rachel?
Was that from me?
Yeah.
Yes, this is our pedal for autism. Yeah, this is our pedal for autism. And it's been a virtual event this year. Typically it is not.
Yeah.
This has been an amazing event. We do this on the Mann County trails. And this is really, I love these pictures. I absolutely love these pictures. But they did this as a virtual this year, and we did fairly well with it. Not obviously not as well as we'd hoped, but it did really well. So we normally have, I think the last one we had that was actually not virtual, we ended up with nearly 400 riders. So it's been a big event, but yeah, I love these pictures.
Thank you. That's all I have.
It's a fun event. Yeah, sure.
Cool. Okay. Well, thank you, ladies. Thank you, Rich. And I'm sure everyone else, it's a little bit hard to clap, but if you guys know how to, you remember how to do the reaction part? So,
Well, thank you very much. This is Donna, and if someone would send me the information on the golf tournament, the golf scramble next Friday night, Friday, I certainly
actually, we'd be happy to.
that would be perfect. I have a couple of friends that we like to go to those, and we're not the best golfers in the world, but we show up.
And actually, while the program was going on, I got a little reminder by email to include the golf scramble information on the main email that we'll send out as well.
Perfect.
So, Rich, if I could send the golf stuff to you, if you could get it to Rachel and to Donna, I'd appreciate it. Okay. And before we move on, there is one additional announcement. Kevin Burr, would you like to unmute and share your announcement?
Yeah, sorry. My just quick announcement is that our Boy Scout popcorn is now, our scouts are going to start selling that, and so they can earn their way to a great program year. So look out for opportunities to support our local scouts. I know a few of you love that popcorn.
Yes, we do. Thanks, Kevin.
Hey, Mark.
Yes, ma'am.
Mark, would it be okay if Rich sends that information, I share that out on our social media, your golf tournament?
I can't think of a reason why that wouldn't be a great idea.
Okay, good. Glad to do it.
Thank you.
We've just got a little bit of a tight turnaround since it's next week. If anybody wants new signs or anything, we'd just like to try and get that information as quick as possible. So
Good point.
thanks.
Thanks, Rick.
Yep.
Okay, next week's program is brought to us by Jennifer Warren and Invocation, Jennifer White. So unless there's anything else, we'll move on to the four-way test, and then we'll move to our breakout rooms. So Masanda, if you could help us share the screen there and unmute everybody. See if we can do this in unison. All right. So the four-way test are the things we think, say, and do.
Is it the
Truth. Is it fair and all concerned?
Will it build goodwill?
Goodwill and
Be
friendship.
beneficial for all
Be
concerned.
beneficial to all
Awesome.
concerned.
Thank you, everybody. Hope you have a great day, and see you in the breakout rooms.